General Hospital teaser. After all the chaos and emotional upheaval that has consumed Port Charles over the past few months, the most haunting question lingering in the minds of its residents isn't about the power struggles of its prominent families, nor the dangerous schemes unraveling behind the scenes. It's far more intimate, far more unsettling. Where is Charlotte? The silence surrounding her absence has grown deafening, cutting through the noise of scandal and tragedy like a whisper that refuses to go away. It is a question that not only pierces the heart of a mother but has begun to erode the very sense of safety and truth in this already fragile town. When Lulu miraculously awoke from her long and uncertain coma, the very first words she uttered were Charlotte's name. Even in her weakened state, Lulu launched into a relentless search for her daughter, a search driven by maternal desperation and a fierce need to reclaim the years that had been stolen from them. She argued with doctors, sparred with Dante, disregarded the needs of her son Rocco, and even pushed herself to travel across Europe, chasing shadows of Valentine and Charlotte through foreign cities and whispered leads. Her body still bore the weight of trauma, recovering from a coma and a liver transplant, but her mind was singularly focused on bringing her daughter home. And eventually, she was told that Charlotte had returned. That she was safe. That the nightmare was over. But if Charlotte is truly home, then where is she? Not once has Charlotte been seen since that announcement. Not a single appearance, not even a fleeting image on social media, a hospital corridor, or a family gathering. She didn't visit Rocco after his near-fatal alcohol poisoning, an event that would have shaken any sibling to their core. She hasn't been seen at the new house Lulu meticulously prepared to restart their lives. She hasn't been spotted at school, in town, or even acknowledged by those who claim to be closest to her. For all intents and purposes, Charlotte has vanished into thin air, and the eerie lack of concern from key players only amplifies the dread. Charlotte was never just another child in Port Charles. She was bold, emotionally complex, and fiercely loyal to her father, Valentine, a loyalty that once blurred her moral compass. Her unwavering devotion to him placed her in jeopardy more than once, pulling her into webs of manipulation, revenge, and family betrayal. And yet, that same spirit made her one of the most compelling and unpredictable characters of her generation. To see her vanish without a trace, without a farewell, without a storyline, feels not just unnatural, it feels like erasure. So what really happened to Charlotte? Was the claim that she returned home a convenient lie to silence Lulu and the questions she was beginning to ask? Was it a calculated effort to protect someone, perhaps Valentine, perhaps even Charlotte herself, from deeper scrutiny? Or is it something darker? Did Charlotte witness something she shouldn't have? Was she taken, hidden away under the guise of safety, while in truth she remains a pawn in an unfinished game? The people of Port Charles have started to whisper. They whisper in hospital corridors, in coffee shops, in quiet corners of the Quartermain estate. They whisper not just about Charlotte, but about a pattern. A disturbing pattern. Other children, Scout, Leo, are also conspicuously absent. Adults too, like TJ, have seemingly slipped off the radar. It's as if a veil has been drawn over select lives, and the town is being asked to accept these absences without explanation. But Lulu cannot accept that. A mother does not move on from uncertainty. A mother does not make peace with silence. Her instincts are sharper than ever, and the gnawing fear in her gut refuses to be silenced. She walks the halls of General Hospital with empty eyes, seeing ghosts where people pass. She listens to Rocco talk, trying to hold on to something real, something stable, while her mind races with possibilities too terrifying to say aloud. Did someone take her daughter to punish Valentine? Is Charlotte being used as leverage in a war still quietly raging beneath the surface of Port Charles? Or, and this may be the most haunting theory of all, did Charlotte choose to disappear? What if the child that everyone assumed needed saving decided that she no longer wanted to be found? What if the years of manipulation, betrayal, lies, and violence finally broke something inside her? What if Charlotte walked away, not from danger, but from the people she once loved? From her fractured family, from the roles thrust upon her, from the version of herself everyone else insisted she should be? That thought keeps Lulu awake at night. The idea that Charlotte isn't hiding because she's in danger, but because she can't bear the weight of the people who claim to protect her. That maybe, just maybe, Charlotte has chosen freedom over belonging. And yet, even in her darkest thoughts, Lulu clings to hope. Hope that wherever Charlotte is, she's safe. That she's healing. That she knows she is loved. But more than anything, Lulu hopes for truth, because until that truth is known, until Charlotte is seen, held, heard, no one in Port Charles can claim peace. Because the question still hangs in the air, louder than any scandal, more urgent than any headline. Where is Charlotte? And who benefits from keeping her gone? One of the most persistent and unsettling theories circulating in hushed tones around Port Charles is that Charlotte's disappearance is not an isolated incident. In fact, her vanishing may be part of a far more disturbing and coordinated pattern, a silent epidemic of absences that no one seems willing to acknowledge out loud. It's as if someone, or something, is quietly erasing people from the tapestry of Port Charles' life, leaving behind only questions, and in some cases, grief with no closure. And as more names quietly drop from the daily rhythm of the town, the eerie feeling settles deeper into the community's bones. Charlotte may not be the only one who has vanished. Among the growing list of the missing is Scout Kane, the young daughter of the late Sam McCall. Scout, once a vibrant and visible child, has all but disappeared from public view. When Sam died, Scout was left in the custody of her father, Drew Kane, a man who, by all accounts, has become increasingly absorbed in his complicated emotional entanglement with Willow. What was supposed to be a time of healing and bonding between father and daughter instead became a slow erosion of attention and care. Drew, distracted by his efforts to insert himself into Willow's life and perhaps forge a new family, has all but let go of his responsibilities as a father to Scout. Initially, there was some hope. Alexis Davis, Scout's grandmother, took the little girl in for a while, providing the emotional warmth and stability that Drew seemed incapable of offering. But now even that arrangement has faded into ambiguity. There have been no recent visits, no photos, no birthday celebrations, not even passing mentions of her whereabouts. Scout has vanished from classrooms, playgrounds, and family events. She no longer plays with Danny, her half-brother, and hasn't been seen with any of the children from the Davis, Kane, or Corinthos families. She hasn't been to Kelly's. She hasn't walked the hospital halls. It's as if she has quietly stepped off the stage of Port Charles, swallowed by the shadows that now seem to linger at the edge of town. The silence around Scout is deafening. No one in town brings up her name in casual conversation. No one asks how she's doing. Not even Alexis, once so fiercely protective of her grandchildren, has been seen showing the slightest concern. It's as if Scout has entered a fog, the same haunting fog that now seems to envelop Charlotte. And therein lies the growing dread. Two children, connected not only by proximity but by lineage, both born into families tangled in deep-rooted legacies of danger, secrets, and manipulation, have disappeared in ways that defy simple explanation. It would be easy to chalk their absences up to off-screen choices or temporary narrative shifts, but the deeper one looks, the more it feels intentional. Calculated. Sinister. Scout's vanishing, like Charlotte's, is not marked by a single traumatic event but by a gradual erasure, a slow fading from visibility. And the more it happens, the harder it becomes to ignore the possibility that something larger is at play. What if this is not a coincidence? What if someone is removing children, deliberately, from environments they deem unsafe, compromised, or even contaminated by the moral decay of their parents? What if there's an underground network, a hidden agenda, or a singular force operating in the shadows of Port Charles, targeting the vulnerable and quietly extracting them from view? Scout, a child whose mother died under mysterious circumstances and whose father seems emotionally compromised. Charlotte, the daughter of a man with a deadly past and a mother still recovering from years in a coma. Both girls have known more darkness in their short lives than most do in a lifetime. Is it possible someone believes they're better off gone? Or worse, what if someone is using them? There's a chilling thought that keeps surfacing in late-night whispers and half-written notes, that these children, presumed safe and sound in the arms of their families, have actually been taken as leverage. As pawns. As victims in a new, more elusive game unfolding beneath the surface of Port Charles. The kind of game that leaves no witnesses, no fingerprints, and no warning. It's not just Scout and Charlotte. The more people begin to scrutinize recent months, the more names are added to the list, children and adults alike who have either faded from the public eye or vanished completely, with no explanation and no concern. It's the kind of mystery that doesn't unfold in dramatic explosions or public scandals, but in the quiet, creeping dread of absence. It's the unease that comes from knowing something is wrong, even if no one is willing to say it aloud. And so, the theory persists. The disappearances may be linked. Scout and Charlotte may not be missing by accident. They may have been taken, or worse, surrendered, to something we have yet to comprehend. A shadow system, a hidden war, a quiet cleansing of the families whose legacies have long poisoned Port Charles. Whatever the case may be, the fog is growing thicker. And until someone dares to part the veil, the children of Port Charles may remain trapped in the silence, forgotten, endangered, and unseen. Leo, the bright, endearing young boy who once brought warmth and innocent mischief to the cold marble halls of the Quartermain mansion, has seemingly vanished into thin air. A child who once darted between rooms with infectious laughter, asking curious questions and sneaking cookies from the kitchen, has now become little more than a ghostly memory in a house that's growing colder with each passing day. Once, his presence was impossible to ignore, a burst of light in a household defined by secrets, rivalries, and legacy pressures. Now, in the vast maze of the Quartermain estate, Leo is conspicuously absent. He's not in the living room, no longer sprawled on the floor with board games or comic books. He's not in the kitchen, pestering the staff or charming Sasha out of fresh-baked cookies. He's not on the garden paths, where he once chased butterflies or talked to the statues like they were old friends. Those spaces feel quieter now. Too quiet. At first, it might have been dismissed as a natural phase. He's getting older, perhaps more focused on school, maybe busy with tutors or extracurriculars. But the silence around Leo has become deafening, echoing in the corridors with a strange finality. No family member has mentioned him in recent weeks. Olivia, once his fiercest protector, hasn't so much as referenced her son's whereabouts. Ned, now Eddie, has been too preoccupied with his own unraveling identity to even acknowledge the child he helped raise. Brooke Lynn, despite her recent involvement in family matters, has remained curiously silent about her younger half-brother. It's as though Leo has been quietly swept off stage, removed from the narrative of the Quartermain saga without a word of explanation. And herein lies the deeper, more troubling concern. Leo's disappearance may not be isolated either. Much like Charlotte and Scout, Leo may be the latest in a string of unsettling vanishings that appear unrelated at first glance but form a chilling pattern when examined together. Children across Port Charles, children once cherished and visible, are slowly, subtly being removed from the canvas. Theories abound. Some say they're being hidden for protection. Others believe they've been taken, that someone or something is targeting the next generation of Port Charles for reasons still shrouded in darkness. But it's not just the children who have disappeared. Adults, too, are quietly slipping away. One name stands out among them, T.J. Ashford. A once vital part of General Hospital's medical staff, T.J. had long been admired for his dedication, compassion, and unshakable professionalism. Whether assisting with trauma patients, mentoring interns, or supporting his partner Molly through their complicated journey of love and family, T.J. was a constant, a presence both reassuring and strong. And now, he's simply gone. There have been no recent shifts logged under his name. No patient consults, no walk-ins, no late-night surgeries. He hasn't been seen at GH, not in the ER, not in the locker rooms, not even in the background of scenes dominated by his closest colleagues. His absence is glaring, and yet, no alarm bells have been sounded. Portia no longer discusses her trusted colleague. Curtis, Jordan, and Stella have not so much as mentioned his name in recent weeks. Even Molly, once the center of TJ's world, moves through life as if the connection never existed. It's as though a collective amnesia has taken root, as though his chapter has been redacted from the story without warning. Some speculate that TJ's emotional state deteriorated after his painful separation from Molly, a breakup that left him visibly shattered and untethered. Others wonder if he's taken a leave of absence, buried in grief or self-doubt, wandering far from the city to mend a heart that once beat so steadily for others. But deeper whispers offer a more sinister theory, that TJ, like the missing children, may have been caught in something far more dangerous than heartbreak. That he might have uncovered something, an unethical experiment, a rogue hospital protocol, or a patient cover-up, and paid the price for knowing too much. The true horror lies not just in their disappearances, but in the town's quiet acceptance of them. As though a silent directive has gone out, don't ask. Don't look. Don't remember. The pattern is too methodical to ignore. Different ages, different families, different roles in the community, yet they all share the same fate. One by one, they are being plucked from the lives they once led, from the relationships they once anchored, and from the places that once felt safe. Is it a form of erasure? A purge? Or is someone out there keeping these people in hiding, waiting for the right moment to reintroduce them into Port Charles, perhaps as pawns in a larger scheme? A new power may be rising in the shadows, one with the ability to manipulate not just perception, but reality itself. The silence from General Hospital Administration, from the Quartermains, from the Ashfords, it's not natural. It's orchestrated. And in this silence, a cold truth begins to settle in. Port Charles is no longer a place where people simply fade into the background. Now, they disappear. They vanish. And the worst part is that no one seems willing to search for them. Until someone demands answers, until someone pulls back the curtain and demands the truth, the disappearances will continue. The halls will grow quieter. The town will grow colder. And the list of the missing will grow longer, one beloved name at a time. All of these disappearances, scattered, quiet, unsettling, inevitably lead to one chilling and unavoidable theory. Is there a shadow organization orchestrating these vanishings behind the scenes? Could there be a clandestine force operating from the depths of Port Charles, selecting individuals with deep ties to the town's most powerful families, removing them one by one in a pattern so subtle, so insidious, that it evades immediate scrutiny? Is this merely coincidence, or the blueprint of a far-reaching political or medical conspiracy playing out beneath the surface of this unsuspecting town?